License and registration, he can sense your aggravation.
On the head of the fallen angel.
When the world is muttering under the floorboards, stomp even louder.
Time.
Let them know you are alive today.
Or unhum.
Did you know that your hands came with a ripple effect?
Whisper tones unraveling like silk.
Blood, sweat, and tears win by any means poetry.
Sway, look at me. Is a piece of the pie too good for me?
Some may call it rock the mic. We call it poetry.
After dreaded possibilities become realities, new strategies must be born. The norm of yesterday won't work, so we learn to lead and lift, embracing the gifts of faith, vision, and integrity, growing, moving as one, finding true power through unity. We must master our weapons of prayer, purpose, and memory. For just as we cannot succumb, we must also not forget. Pressing from the past, we release yesterday and are reborn through prayer, followed by purposeful acts. For as has been said, faith without works is dead. Deed can and must connect us one with the other. Now is our time to lift one another, leading with unbroken spirits, empowered and emboldened by hard-learned lessons from hard-won victories that cost us greatly. So today we strive relentlessly with passion and tenacity toward goals, generations in the making, confident and convicted that the work we do is ordained for such a time as this. Hello, and welcome back to Sojourn with Words. And of course, we're saying welcome back to our longtime viewers and Sojourn with Words family, but also welcome to new viewers. We are so happy to have you with us. We're bringing Sojourn with Words to you from Largo, Maryland, right here on CTV. And we know that we're presenting one of the best poets today because we have Brenardo. Now, Brenardo is the sing-song poet, and he is a lyrical adventurer of word and sound. Before I go on, welcome, Brenardo. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you, Sistah Joy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely happy to have you. Well, now, Brenardo's poems show a versatile page plus performance poet, and he'll talk a little bit about that himself later. But Brenardo has been writing poetry that speaks to civil rights, spirituality, hope, peace, human development, and progress for over 2/3 of his life. He is a veteran of the United States Navy and a veteran of stage, radio, and television. His poems have appeared in magazines and anthologies such as Mid-Atlantic Review, Fixed and Free, and Online Pathways Magazine, Sailor's Review, Poetry X Hunger, and more. Now, he is an alumnus of Poets in Progress. He is also an alumnus of the Anointed Pens and has presented in many events on behalf of military veterans over the years. Let's see. In 2008, he was one of 4 poets selected as Poet of Excellence for Prince George's County. So he's currently a member of Collective Voices, and also a freelance poet. His latest book is titled Bridges Over Aggravated Troubles, So we're going to now hear from Brenardo. Brenardo, welcome again. And thank you so much for joining us on Sojourn with Words. What's going on with Brenardo?
Bernardo is like so many of his contemporaries, focused on trying to maintain peace and harmony within himself as he deals with the challenges of the world through his writing, through his thinking, and through talking to those same group of people to figure out how we're going to move through this.
Okay. Well, we certainly know that this is a period of adjustment for many, and I'll leave it at that as far as how do we look at the times we find ourselves in and respond as poets of conscience, such as I know you to be. What was your introduction to poetry? Let's go back to the beginning. What pulled Brenardo to poetry and spoken word?
Well, as a child, I read a book, Mother Goose, Hickory Dickory Dock, The Mouse Ran Up the Clock, London Bridge is Falling Down, just things that helped me. This Old Lady Lived in a Shoe, these kind of poems that kind of captured a child's imagination and transported him from his grandmother's living room to someplace else that was imaginary. And then moving from there into I Will Not Eat Green Eggs and Ham, I Will Not Eat Them, Sam I Am, the Dr. Seuss, and the messages that he spread in his poetry of inclusion, of kindness, of consideration of others. And of course, Langston Hughes, my God, Langston told so much stuff, so many stories. And The Last Poets, and finally Gil Scott-Heron, who spoke truth to power and spoke about the need to stand up and tell the truth even when it was hard to do it. And he did it in such a way that, it really made the rhyme and everything and the courage stand out even more.
Okay. Now, you have definitely, you're one of the poets that comes on strong. You come with a word. You have a purpose to your passion. You do so, however, with rhyme in such a way that those folks who, would not necessarily embrace rhyme as the best approach to writing, you've managed to include the power of messages as well as the beauty of and lyricism of rhyme. How is it that, talk about your writing style and your approach to composition. How does one maintain the rhyme as strongly as you do and have such strong poetry messages?
Well, one of the things I say to young poets, Joy, when I approach them is that you need to have a vocabulary. And even today, I'm not one who has, a multiplicity of languages, but that would help too. But you need to have a vocabulary that allows you to say a lot of different things. You need to understand the tools like thesaurus and dictionaries to help you find the right word for the poem. That helps me. That's one thing that I focus on. The second thing is that rhyme helps you to remember it easier. There's every good boy does fine in terms of music that helps you remember the scales. There are certain rhymes that help you with mathematics or science. So it helps you to memorize certain important aspects of what you're reading. And then that just what happened. My muse brings to me. My muse tells me this is what happens, and I just go with the flow. And then even as I edit it, I will read it back to myself to see if it flows smoothly. And if it doesn't, then I need to make some adjustments. So.
Well, I know for a fact that you embrace the musicality of poetry, partially because you are an incredible vocalist. You have music in you. And so does that also enhance your natural rhythm in writing poetry that rhymes?
Yeah, indeed. I'm a songwriter. Yeah. When I heard somebody like Smokey Robinson was the main one that comes to mind. When I heard, I will build you a castle with a tower so high it reaches the moon. I will gather melodies from birdies that fly to compose you a tune. That whole idea of being able to tell a story in 3 minutes and open your heart and inspire someone else, that was amazing. And I wanted to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's see. I know you just recently launched your latest book. Talk to us about your journey in releasing that for the first book, but also where you are today.
Where I'm at today is trying to figure out what that means. Releasing this first book was really startling, because I actually intended to do a different book. I was working at the time, and I was working on a book called Listen. But then the opportunity to perform for Grace Cavallari came into being, and we did several versions of Voice as Bridge. And in the writing of Voice as Bridge, there came a poem called Sankofa, Voice as Bridge, that told a story that I thought was a very important story to be told. And then it got so much acclaim that when we went to different places, I felt like I needed to be able to leave that poem behind. But when I left the room, they still could partake of it and help them grow, help them get themselves immersed inside my experience. And that idea of the bridge turned into Bridge Over Aggravated Troubles. And I went ahead and pursued that, first as a chapbook and then as a book. And from that particular point at this time, it became brand new territory for me, because it showed me that there is a difference between writing the poetry and there's a difference between and marketing the poetry. So now I'm still trying to find that avenue. How do I get there? How do I let the world know that this book exists, that these poems exist?
Well, that was one of my questions that I wanted to ask you. Number one, how has the book been received, and how have you gone about presenting it to poetry lovers?
Well, the book has been received well for everybody who's read the book, and that's once again the question. How do I get people to see the book, to know the book exists, without going to the traditional marketplace of Amazon or someplace like that? And what I've done is I've taken it upon myself to set up what I call my book tour. And basically, I travel to places that I like, or I travel to venues where the hosts have been friendly to me and extended invitation to come, hey, come and present, and I'll come and present. I've been to New York, I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to Pennsylvania, I've been to Florida, and I continue to see what's available to me to opportunity to present the book. Right now, I'm getting a couple different offers to do it, such as this today with you, and then someone else wants to do a radio interview. That's with Grace, and then someone else wants me to come in April, and it's kind of like things are starting to overlap now, and I'm really just blown away at the doors that are opening.
Well, that's congratulations, first and
Thank you.
foremost. We know that your poetry, once heard, your poetry speaks for itself. And I'm very happy to hear that the doors and windows are opening for you. We know that you're one that will travel. You are literally a world traveler. And I don't know how much of your world traveling is specifically about poetry, but we know that if you get on the mic, you will have new supporters and fans wherever you go. Now, has your journey changed since the book? I know you had the chapbook previously, and you were sharing poetry quite a bit with Collective Voices at the least, also in years gone by. But as a solo poet, now that this book is out, how has that changed since the release of this legitimate quality book of poetry for poetry lovers?
It has changed in a way that it has called me to have a special focus. That's all. I know that as I continue to travel the world, I look for opportunities. If I go to a place, I will look for a bookstore. I'll look for a poetry reading. I'll look for people. And that is the essence. I mean, I still love to travel just to see the world, and it adds to the reservoir of material I'm able to tap into. My book is a book of healing. So healing is needed all around the world. My book is a book of staying focused, paying attention, and that's needed all around the world. And around the world, I see so many similar things. So That's is the nature of the change.
Right. So I was about to ask you about inspiration, but it sounds to me like your inspiration is life and the experiences that you encounter in your travels. Would for young poets that are watching and listening and seeking to gain some insight on what it's like to be a poet full time, or at least to embrace your poetry as not just a hobby or something that you do on the side, but taking it seriously. What message would you give to a young person looking to take poetry to the next level in their lives?
I would say, remember the word. The word is what's important. In the beginning was the word, not the beat. In the beginning was a garden, not the street. So all the power that you need to tap into and the richness that will guide you is already there inside you. You just need to sit still, meditate, quiet, and listen to your own voice and follow your own journey.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I know that we're going to now hear some poetry by Brenardo, and we're very excited. So I'm going to get out of the way. And Brenardo, what would you share with our viewers here on Sojourn with Words?
Well, I'm going to be sharing poetry from the book. Like I said, my goal now is to make sure that these words are heard, and the book has enough information that will help you get through this thing called life. And this one is dedicated to the people who graduated high school with me in 1973, the Largo Lions, and the poem is To the Lions. Here's to the lions, here's to the den, here's to the people we are within, the brightness, the darkness in each of our lives, the traits, states, debates we exercise, going through dilemmas until we reach the other side. Giving our confessions unto whom we each confess, gathering belief that we might bring forth our best. Life has many challenges, trials, tribulations, tests. There is only one state that is marked eternal rest. We must answer to our calling and not fall back asleep. There are distractions and enjoyment, but our appointments we must keep. We must come through our jungles, cross over different rivers, climb up and over mountains that our treasure be delivered. We must journey across deserts with mirages, sand, and heat. We must stand firm within the wilderness if we are to be complete. So here's to the lions. Here's to the pride. Here's to the people that we are inside. Spirits pushing on through days and nights along, knowing something stronger holds us firm. May we all find something higher wherein we might be inspired. So when our time's expired, well done will mark our turn.
All right, all right. Thank you, Brenardo. Please continue.
And that can apply to anyone, wherever you are. Understand that, tap into your inner strength and be your best. And sometimes you're going to fall short. So the next poem, Humble the Stumble, speaks to that. This is but a stumbling place, a pebble, a shingle, a rock. Not boulder nor a mountain, this cannot make you stop. But only for a moment, the atonement that it takes to recognize the lies, despise, distractions, and mistakes. Take your next step forward in answer to your call. A stumble is just a mere misstep and not a fatal fall.
Hey, life lesson.
Along the path I've had was someone who was very important to me, was with my grandma, Bessie Mae LeBrew. And this poem came to me one day to pay homage to her, time with grandma. I climb inside my mind, I do not know what year it is. I am listening to Al Stewart's Time Passages with my grandma in her living room in Columbia Park Apartments in 1970-something. And something is stirring within me in this reoccurring visit I have sometimes. There is moisture in my eyes as if tears might appear at any moment. The atonement so subtle is not so much from trouble, but if only I knew how fleeting time was, how few the meetings would be with someone I loved. She was the woman who fought my own mama for my possession. She believed Barbara was too reckless, too wild to raise a child. Even though, or maybe because my mother was her daughter, she fought the fight that ended with me taken from her arms, but not from her life. For months at a time, we would find ourselves living together over the years. So why this occasion? What is the meaning of here? Listening to this song, not Three Times a Lady or One Nation Under a Groove or ELO or Men at Work or any other music from earlier times that we both used to know together. His eyes on the sparrow in those times bequeath forlorn, or How You'll Never Walk Alone, which begins with When You Walk Through a Storm. Messages she planted, she handed me in song, echoing through decades after she is gone. You know, she used to be a singer in nightclubs in Georgia back in the day. She had dreams of being a professional, but her destiny was not Annie, but rather Bessie Mae. I did not understand her dreamy-eyed crooning back then, when she would disappear into the memories of what she had left behind. Where was she in her mind? What is the meaning of me being in this time, at this time? But if only I knew how fleeting time really was, how few the meetings would be with someone I loved. I touched this memory with tenderness, as it deserves, and then on cue, the words emerge. Well, I'm not the kind to live in the past. The years run too short and the days too fast. The things you lean on are things that don't last. Well, it's just now and then my line gets cast into these time passages. I know you're in there, you're just out of sight. Whoa, time passages. Buy me a ticket on the last train home tonight. So that's for my grandma. And I tell you the truth, you know, when I was writing that poem, tears actually did appear in my eyes. And I was like, wow, overcome with emotion. But it needed to be said. And even today, as we look around what's happening in our nation, people are struggling with mental health, right? Pandemic took us far away and locked us up and separated us from one another. And so this piece came to me, defining fine. Define to find for me, I don't see the way you see. Define what's fine for me. I am trying so hard to be. I am lost. I cannot get across the fray to say the things I want to say. What is that is in the way? This wall of haze, this graze of gray that splays from the amazing fractal jewel that holds my eye. Why is that? To take it in is backwards, so you say. The way you see, so you say. You can do it, you say to me, so you say. Come on, move it. Move it. You can do it, you say to me. So you say to me, come on, move it, be like us. So you say, but cannot tell me how. I cannot get across. Lost the words heard in my head. I want to say. Instead, I play the keys, C, E, G, C, E, G, always, always there for me. C, E, G, C, E, G, my key to find my way back to a place in time where there is order, mine. What do you use to find your way to find? New skies to search for blue in. New dreams to seek out solace. Where new is now the quiet, new means to reach nirvana, new ways to see the promise, where new is new no longer. New is the number 7, new skies in search of blue. New skies to search for blue in the ruin of the world, some rumored tumor of our twisted tongues. How many of them cursed and hated, woe, what wicked deeds were done. New dreams to seek out solace, eradicate the ignorant darkness, new light, longer, stronger rays. Insert the hope of certain outcomes and kingdom come of God's displayed. Where new is now the quiet, I need someone of gentle spirit to speak to smoke that stirs my soul. Like hurricane inside its center, a modicum of slight control. New means to reach nirvana, frequencies that speak to sunlight, that even touches those of clouds, that calls for them to work together, yet with no utterance allowed. New ways to see the promise, look through prisms bare partitions, invest in new discoveries old, work at growing into flowing, see intuition then unfold. When new is new no longer, will songs we sing become new favorites, taking us to higher heights, past those portals where we trembled, not knowing what beyond the night. New is the number 7, revel in each dawning on display, rejoice richly, rising sun. Rays become the rhyme and reason, the time of new has now begun. New skies in search of blue, the clues in many books surmised, rising tides where rivers run, find dreams wherein your hopes might cling to. The time of new has now begun. So that poem was written during COVID because so much was going on and I was sad and depressed every daggone day, and I needed to have hope, and that's what came into being. Do you know how much time I have?
We have 3 more minutes.
Okay. Well,
Add another piece.
I want to close with this piece then, because it speaks to what we need to be in this particular time. Unity, the reason. Raise your hand above your head. Raise your hand to take this pledge. Be considerate of what is said. Unity is the reason for the fist. Number 1 is for me. Number 2 is for the family. Number 3 is for the worker standing next to me. Number 4 is for the millions more, feeling the same thing at the core. Number 5 is for the one that keeps us all alive, helps us to survive, and reminds us all that together we stand, where divided we fall. For all of these, we make the call to bring them together just like this. Unity is the reason for the fist. Not to punch or start a fight, just a symbol to unite. Single entities gather tight. Unity is the reason for the fist. Being united, the perfect use, not to lash out in abuse. Being frustrated, no excuse. Unity is the reason for the fist. So with all things being equal, it just means power to the people. History has given sequels, and a fist bump is not lethal. Number 1 is for me. Number 2 is for the family. Number 3 is for the worker standing next to me. Number 4 is for the millions more, feeling the same thing at the core. Number 5 is for the one that keeps us all alive, helps us to survive, and reminds us all that together we stand, we're divided, we fall. For all of these, we make the call to bring them together just like this. Unity is the reason for the fist.
All right, Brenardo, thank you so much. Unity is what it's all about. That's what's going to take us forward, and that's what we're looking to do. Well, that concludes another episode of Sojourn with Words. Brenardo, thank you for being with us today, and we look forward to hopefully having our guests to be in touch with you. Is there a quick contact point that we can share with our viewers?
Dayop, deep into the pool, dayop123@gmail.com. The name of the book is Bridge Over Aggravated Troubles, which is an acronym for BOAT, because we need a way across to the other side, y'all, whether we're going to walk or float.
Okay, and that's DEOPT, deep end of the pool. 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Okay, thank you so much. We look
All right,
forward
thank you.
We look forward to our viewers being in touch with you. Thank you, everybody, for being with us right here on CTV for Sojourn with Words. I'm your host, one more time, saying keep writing and see you next time. Take care. Bye.